So today I'm going to be giving a tribute speech to Bob Marley. I'm going to start off by talking about where he's from, his roots. So his real name is actually Robert Nesta Marley. He was born on February 6, 1945 in 9 Mile, Jamaica. His father was Norval Sinclair Marley and his mother was Sadea Booker. And here's a picture of his mother and a picture of his father right here. So Norval Marley was a white Jamaican originally from England. He claimed to have been a captain in the Royal Marines, and at the time of his marriage to Sadea Booker, an Afro-Jamaican who was only 18 years old at the time, was employed as a plantation overseer, which is how the two met. So in his early life, he attended Stepney Primary and Junior High School, and when he was 10, his dad died of a heart attack, and a few years later, he moved to Trenchtown to start his music career. And then in Trenchtown, he met Bunny Wailer, which is a picture of him right here, and he's also a successful reggae artist nowadays. So in 1963, Bob Marley, Bunny Wailer, Peter Tosh, and a few others all joined a band called the Teenagers. They later changed the name to the Wailing Rude Boys, and then finally to the Wailers. So in his early music career in the Wailers, they had a hit song called Simmer Down, and it became #1 in Jamaica in 1964, selling an estimated 70,000 copies. And he also worked with other big names like Johnny Nash. And then in 1966, Marley married Rita Anderson and moved to the States, next to where his mother lived in Delaware. He worked as a DuPont lab assistant for a short time and also an assembly line at a Chrysler plant. Okay. When Bob moved back to Jamaica, he converted to Rastafari, and that's when he started growing his dreadlocks. And then soon after that, when he joined the Wailers, they released their first song in 1973. It didn't do as well as they wanted, but it still made Bob Marley have kind of a name for himself now. So the Wailers' first album was Catch a Fire, and it was released in 1973. The Wailers also recorded more than 30 singles in the 70s. And then at a point, they were scheduled to open 17 shows in the States, but that was eventually canceled because they were popular than more of the acts that they were like opening up for. And they also weren't getting as much pay as they wanted to. And then finally in 1974, the Wailers split up, and this was because the group members wanted to be solo artists. And despite the breakup, Marley continued recording as Bob Marley and the Wailers, so even his single hits have the Wailers included as well. Okay. Bob Marley was also a political activist, especially in Jamaica. In one event on December 3rd, 1976, 2 days before Smile Jamaica, which was a free concert organized by the Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley, in an attempt to ease tension between two warring political parties. Marley, his wife, and his manager were wounded in an assault by an unknown gunman inside his home. Marley suffered injuries but still made it to the concert. And also, in 1976, his song War transcribed a speech of the Ethiopian King Selassie's. His lyrics probed the turmoil in Jamaica, and prior to the 1976 elections, partisanship inspired gang war in Trenchtown and divided the people against themselves, so Bob was kind of a figure that helped stop violence in Jamaica. So not only did Bob Marley's activism extend beyond Jamaica, but it reached people from developing nations as well. The group's concerts in the late 70s attracted enormous crowds. And in 1980, Bob Marley and the Wailers had the honor of performing at the independence ceremony when Rhodesia became Zimbabwe. His music became closely associated with the movement toward Black political independence that was then prominent in several African and South American countries. And he was the first global pop star to emerge from a developing nation, or in other words, a third world country. So in his later years, he released his final studio album, which was called Uprising, and it is one of the most religious productions. It includes songs like Redemption Song and Forever Loving Jah. Another big one from this album was Buffalo Soldier. And unfortunately, Bob Marley died at a very young age of 36. He had cancer in his toe that eventually spread throughout his body. And it soon became clear that Marley didn't have much longer to live. So he set out to go back to his hometown, Jamaica, from the treatment center in Germany. But on his way back, he didn't make it, and he eventually died in Florida on May 11th, 1981. Shortly before his death, Marley had received the Order of Merit from the Jamaican government. He had also been awarded the Medal of Peace from the United Nations in 1980. And adored by the people of Jamaica, Marley was given a hero send-off. More than 30,000 people paid their respects to the musician during his memorial service. And his final words to his son were, "Money can't buy life." And this is the statue in Jamaica that was a tribute to him. So Bob Marley was a Jamaican singer and songwriter whose name, more than anyone, represents reggae music, the tenets of Rastafari, and the struggle of the economically and politically oppressed. Bob Marley was truly a legend.